in writing. I am Richard Armstrong here, and with me I have Jaytilya Watkins, and I just got a few questions to ask you about love, art, and writing. Okay, first, what inspired you to create love, art, and writing?
Music has always been in my family, right? And I'm plus I'm an artist, so I love art, I love music, and I love writing because I used to keep a journal when I was a teenager. So that my love for that is what helped inspire love, art, and writing. And I don't regret it. I don't regret one bit.
Was there a specific moment when you knew this had to exist?
There was one moment when I was recording Mr. Samuel. He was an artist. That interviewing him, even though it wasn't about necessarily art, even though he was an artist in Frisco City, when I was interviewing him about his art, that's what really sparked the idea of me creating some type of show, a documentary about it. But at first I didn't know what name I was going to come up with, but I knew then that I wanted to create something like that. And so years later, I just went and pursued it. But I would say that is a moment. That was a moment when I was interviewing him and his artwork on that building that's now burnt down and rebuilt. It's called Channels. Yeah, that's what really helped me spark the idea for love, art, and writing, but I didn't know what the name was going to be yet. I wanted to create the gap between unknown artists, whether it's art pieces, whether it's authors, whether it's musicians. I wanted to fill that gap and help and promote them and bring them on to interview them, because there's not many shows around right now that does that. I mean, it's shows on TV, but I'm just talking about like YouTube channels. It's not that many YouTube channels out there that promote people, and do it for free. A lot of times they have their hand out. See, I do love art and writing for free because I remember being in that state where I first published my book, and I didn't have a place to go on in order to advertise it. Yeah, same way with my art. I always like sold art on and off, but there was never a place for me to go and, I'm doing this art, I got this art for sale. And then when I used to do music a long time ago, Lord forbid, there was never a place for me to go and be like, well, I brought my first single out. You should listen to it here, listen to it there. There's just not that many places, that many platforms that do that without having their hand out for money. So I want to fill that gap where if I see a musician out here or an author out here or any type of creator out here that's doing what they do and they want to be advertised, I want to fill that gap. I want to be the one that, hey, come on my show. We can talk about your new project, talk about your new masterpiece, and let people know, what you got going on, I want to fill that gap. I want to help fill that gap. I know it's probably a few that's out there, but it's not that many. It needs to be more.
What's been the hardest part about producing this series?
The hardest part about producing this series is the editing. And sometimes like the time management, cause like it be on my first day off. And me and my husband, we both have the first day off, and I be trying to spend time with him and stuff. And so whenever I do my editing, I have to edit it that same night and probably try to put it out there that same night, which is a Monday, if not Tuesday night.
That makes sense, yeah.
Because I have to spend time with hubby. So really time management and editing. How do I handle rejection or unanswered emails? I keep going. I mean, I can't cry if somebody don't answer me back. I gotta move on to the next guest and try to invite them on. I can't just sit back and cry because I get an ignored email. Nobody, I get rejected. I got rejected recently, but I don't want to talk about that. But it's just like this. If they don't say nothing to you, it's rejection anyway. So I can't dwell on that when there could be somebody out there, and I know there's other people out there. I just have to find them that'll say yes. I want to be on your series, and I can set up a time with them. And then there's a lot of people out here. I just gotta find them. So I keep going.
I felt ignored or overlooked while trying to book guests.
Come on, let's start it. Yes. You'll be surprised how many ignores I get when I reach out to them and I tell them about what I'm doing and stuff. Yes, I get more ignores than I do a yes or a no. And I think most of the time it does have something to do with how many followers you have. But believe it or not, when you first starting out on a YouTube channel or something like that, they always look at how many followers you have, because they always trying to follow what everybody else is following. And it's really like that. Now, granted, I will say some people probably don't have time to look at they messages, right? So I can say that, some people. But most people like to follow the crowd. They like to follow what everybody else like. And if you only sitting there with 50,000 followers, they gonna look at that and be like, I ain't coming on your show. You ain't got that many followers who will see my products. And that's really what it's about most of the time. Everybody trying to follow everybody else and what's hot and what's trendy. And if you're not hot and trendy, I expect for this to happen. I gotta build myself up. I gotta build my followers up. I gotta build my subscribers up in order to be taken seriously. I get it. But yeah, sometimes I do feel ignored and overlooked. More people leave me on red than I do people who actually say yeah. So yeah. But I expect this first starting out. People ain't gonna take you seriously unless you got like a couple of 100,000 followers, maybe 20,000. Well, I got 50,000. Well, I would say 100,000, 200,000, something like that. Yeah. And then another thing is a lot of people overseas follow me. Some of those 50,000 followers or subscribers are overseas, so that's that too. But they go by the same fact. They follow what's trendy, and if it's not trendy, they don't follow it. So yeah, I do feel overlooked sometimes, but I'm gonna keep going. I ain't gonna let it stop me.
Take to put one episode together. People not see about the work behind the camera.
They don't see how much time it takes. They don't see the editing or none of that. All they see is what's in front of them. They don't know it's work that comes behind that. Sometimes you can be up over like 5 hours doing editing when you really just want to go into bed and go to sleep. But if you want that episode out at a certain time, you got to keep working on it. So they don't see the time and the effort and the editing you put into it.
Going when things felt slow.
The fact that there's probably somebody out there that want to be heard, and the fact that I didn't, I came up with this and I want to see it through. So that's what kept me going. The fact that I want to see this through, and I want to be able to be that gap to help people and help advertising. So that's what kept me going.
People from doing these interviews.
That they're human just like me, I guess, and they make the same mistakes I have made. They go through the same struggles I go through when they're creating their craft, creating what they create. Sometimes they have doubts. Some of them go through depression. Some of them have been through a lot. Some of them have been through more than what I've been through, and they still they still standing strong and they still doing what they love to do. So that's what I learned about people.
What's the biggest lesson that this series has taught you about creators?
Another thing I learned is that a lot of these people are very similar to me. I thought I was an alien in the world, that I was the only one who had certain feelings, but through interviewing them, I realized that I'm not alone. And they have some of those same feelings. They have some of those same drives, desires too. So it makes me feel confident and better about myself to know that there's other people out there that feel just like me.
What type of guest do you dream of interviewing?
Oh, this right here is gonna be a great question. I love this question. I haven't had any comedians on my series yet.
Comedians, huh? But why comedians? Everybody, comedians, they're all about jokes and laughs and yeah. They're all about making people laugh. So,
I love to laugh.
Well, people like to laugh. Some people they look at it like, he's not that serious, But you never know,
But with all the stuff that go on in the world,
What?
you should want to be able to laugh a little bit.
Everybody wants to laugh, I guess, because it's what you said. There's a lot going on in the world. We all want to laugh here and there, but sometimes it's kind of hard to take a comedian serious. That's just my personal opinion.
You're not supposed to take them serious. I want some comedians on there. I want some poets on there. Good poets that know how to write poems and all that. I dream of those type of people being on there. People who just starting out. Because I love to laugh. And I'm a writer. I love poems too, So I definitely want to interview those type of people. There's this certain man, he's a comedian, but he plays with puppets. I want to interview some of those type of comedians, the ones who make the puppets talk, and they move, and you don't see their lips moving, but they making their puppet talk. I think that's a very unique talent to have. I want to interview them, for real. I just, there's so many people I want to interview, but I definitely want to interview some comedians and some poets. Yeah.
What do you give to someone afraid to start their own platform?
You can't let fear stop you. You gotta go. You gotta go. I was in fear. Of just starting out. You know what I'm saying? Because me, I'm not one of them type of people that just go out there like that. If you go back to one of my episodes when I was doing my book signing and everything, I wasn't one of those. I'm not one of those type of people that just go out there and just be aggressive and stuff like that. That was kind of a fear, because I don't want to impose nothing on somebody that don't want it, right? But I had to do it. It had to be done. So you can't let fear stop you. You gotta go. You gotta go. If you want to start your platform, start your platform. Don't let fear stop you. Pray and keep going. Do it.
Art and writing in the next 5 years.
Hopefully by then I have more subscribers, more followers, and I'll be interviewing more people and probably traveling places and interviewing them to more places. And I have high hopes for the next 5 years. If it's the good Lord's will, I'm gonna keep going. I really want to do a lot of in-person interviews. I love those in-person interviews. That one in Tuscaloosa with Miss Nick, oh, I loved it. I want to do more of those. Online is okay, but I want to do more of those, man. Them in-person encounters, it's brutal. I want to do more of them. So in 5 years, hopefully I done got Love, Art, and Writing established, and everybody knows about it. People try to get in touch with me to get on the series. Yeah. I wanted to go mainstream, but only if I can keep my rights and I'll be able to do what I do.
5 years, yeah. You never know what can happen. Very interesting. Well, I'm glad you got a great, you got a great host for it, and that's good. You're not seeing a dead end, and you You still more positive. Stay like that. Yeah, that's right. Number one question of the day. If you never find another guest to be on Love, Art, and Writing, would you still do it?
I would. Because there's always something to do on Love, Art, and Writing. I can do art. So if anything, I just started doing my art, started doing my illustrations, started doing it on TikTok Live where everybody can see it. Team up with my homegirl Adrian, and we do some paintings together. It's always something to do. So if I don't get one single guest anymore, that's the aim where I take Love, Art, and Writing. But just like I said in the interview a long time ago, when I first started this, I didn't only want it to just be about me. I wanted to be about other artists out there who didn't have exposure. But if it takes me doing my art and then y'all see me do my artwork, I'll do it like that. If I don't get another guest, that's what I do. That's the direction that I'm taking Love, Art, and Writing. Yeah.